Part 6. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 51. Wu Zhen, the lord of Qiushui City, looked at the scene with an increasingly worried look in his eyes. He wasn't sure whether Li Wanqing could beat Su Ren. The strength Su Ren is showing now is really terrifying. Judging from the current situation, even if Li Wanqing takes up his second profession, he will lose to Su Ren if he is not careful. Wu Zhen glanced at Lu Wenwen, who was looking excited, and wondered if Li Wanqing lost this time. Then he also lost. Everyone can see that this time the governor's election is based on the results of each city's college entrance examination. Judging from the current rankings, either he or Lu Wenwen is the governor. No matter which one of him or Lu Wen became governor, the other would not be able to stay in Donghua Prefecture any longer. Wu Zhen looked at Li Wanqing, who was slowly brushing monsters, and said silently in his heart, "Wanqing, you must win." As for Lu Wenwen, he is much more relaxed now. He has even thought about his campaign speech when he becomes governor. Lu Wenwen couldn't help but feel excited when he thought that after decades of struggling, he would finally be promoted and prosperous. This is a dream he has been striving for decades, and finally, this dream is about to come true. All this depends on the young man standing against the wind on the screen in front of him. Inside the virtual exam room, all the candidates who heard this prompt were shocked. What the hell? The Wolf King died just after the refresh. Are you sure he doesn't have a bug? Aren't you allowed to bring pets? When Ling Qingxiu heard this reminder, she was stunned for a moment and then recovered. When it comes to who knows Su Ren best, she is the second best and no one dares to be the first. She saw it with her own eyes when Su Ren instantly killed the Cyclops, and she also saw with her own eyes that Su Ren's drawn sword could be used infinitely. Moreover, she and Su Ren had been roommates for more than 10 years. Thinking of this, Ling Qingxiu smiled sweetly and continued to brush the Steppenwolf in front of her. She knew she had to work harder to have a chance to keep up with Su Ren. Lin 11 raised her head and glanced at the sky, muttering to herself. Su Ren looks like a worthy opponent. After Lin 11 killed the last Steppenwolf in his area with one strike of his sword, he walked towards the next area. He didn't have time to wait for the next wave of Steppenwolves to spawn. When Li Wanqing heard this prompt, the smile on his lips became more obvious. The better Su Ren performs now and the more points he earns, the happier he is. Come on, Su Ren, get more points, because soon they will be mine. Li Wanqing glanced at his second career, then looked northwest and smiled confidently again. At the edge of the wasteland, Gu Changfeng looked towards the northwest coldly. It doesn't matter how high your points are, you will be dead soon. All your honor will belong to me. The evil king in Gu Changfeng couldn't help but sneered in his heart when he saw Gu Changfeng's face. What a stupid human being, do you really think this king will help you? This king is just using you to kill these geniuses. You're a loser and you really think you're a nobody. It's so ridiculous that you don't realize it. At this time, as Su Ren killed the Wolf King, the points also changed again. Su Ren killed a total of 1 Wolf King, 4 elite Steppenwolves and 20 ordinary Steppenwolves this time. A total of 900 points were obtained. Including his previous 500 points, his current points total is 1014. The ranking is still number 1. However, Su Ren was still not very satisfied with the result. Although 900 points at a time may seem like a lot, you only get them once an hour. Others, especially those mages with group damage capabilities, might be able to earn more than 1000 points in an hour. This puts his first position in danger. This is the last assessment copy, and it is their only chance to make a comeback, and they will never hold back. Su Ren stood up and looked at a pack of wolves in the distance. There were about 7 or 8 Steppenwolves there, and they had just spawned. Just now, Su Ren saw a candidate preparing to kill monsters there, but he discovered Suren just after he hit Steppenwolf. When Suren stared at him, he didn't know whether he was scared or what he was thinking, so he gave up on the monster and ran away. But something magical happened. The group of Steppenwolves he attacked actually followed him and disappeared, never to come back again. Until the wolves here are refreshed again. Isn't it possible that the monsters here don't have a fighting spirit? Thinking of this, Suren drew out the magic sword Thousand Blades and ran towards the location of the wasteland wolves. After arriving at the place, Suren slashed at one of the Steppenwolves. -21858. The demon knife Thousand Blades ignores defense and shields, so Suren can cause as much damage as his attack power. Let me go, why is his basic attack damage so high? Others can only hit less than 30,000 with their skills. Su Shenfeng's skills are all seconds, and the normal attack damage is higher, which is very reasonable. After Suren hit the target with one strike, he ran towards another pack of wolves in the distance without looking back. These Steppenwolves howled and chased after Suren. Suren ignored them, and when he ran to another group of wolves, he stabbed them again. Then the number of wolves chasing Suren increased from 8 to 16. I'll go, it's really useful. He looked at the group of Steppenwolves chasing after him behind him. Suren had already thought of a perfect plan to attract monsters. He just needs to pull enough Steppenwolves, and when the next Wolf King is refreshed, he can pull the wolves over and take them all away with one blow. In this way, not only will he not expose the cooldown time of drawing the sword, but he can also gain a lot of points. Looking at Suren pulling monsters around on the screen, the audience asked curiously. What is he doing? Why did he hit and run away? Suren doesn't want to bring all the Steppenwolves together and kill them, right? I guess it's because the cooldown time of his instant kill skill is too long, so I had to do this. No, what's going on with the rules in this examination room? Isn't there a pull-off battle set up? In the control center below the examination room. Many staff members were shocked when they saw this scene. Because of the morning, they barely managed to repair the problem with the equipment in 3 hours. But there are still some oversights. For example, the problem of this monster being unable to escape the battle. Team leader, what should I do? Leto was also speechless. He thought for a while and waved his hand. I can't control it anymore, just let it go, even if it's the hidden rule of this assessment. In the virtual examination room, Wang Tao was trying hard to brush his eyes at the Steppenwolf in front of him. Suddenly, I heard howls of wolves in the distance. Wang Tao looked up and saw dozens or hundreds of Steppenwolves chasing one person and running towards him. Fuck. Wang Tao was so frightened that he ran away. If he were hit by so many Steppenwolves, he would be eliminated immediately. Wang Tao ran to a distance and looked at the wolves that were like locusts crossing the border. He patted his chest with lingering fear. After seeing the boy being chased by the wolves, Wang Tao couldn't help but complain. I knew for sure it was him who did something good. Can anyone take care of him? I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 52. In the wilderness, as the number of wolves led by Suren continued to increase, the entire wolf pack was like a tornado rolling across the earth. Everywhere he passed was a mess. It was accompanied by the wails and insults from countless candidates. Who the hell? Suren, you bastard, did you do it on purpose or accidentally? My monster, give it back to me. Everyone scolded him, but they didn't dare to go too far. They could only wait for Suren to leave and wait for the monsters to spawn. Ordinary Steppenwolves refreshed quickly, and Suren's move only affected them for a few minutes. Suren didn't have time to reply to them, because he couldn't stop now. Once stopped, these hundreds of Steppenwolves could kill him. Everyone looked at this scene, and some people were laughing, finding it funny. Some people are accusing Suren, saying that he is harming others. Faced with Suren's behavior, everyone had different opinions, but most people believed that the theme of this round of assessment was originally to grab points. Since it is robbery, we cannot leave opportunities for others. Although this is an exam, it is also a competition. The presidents of the three major guilds looked at Suren, who was still attracting monsters in the picture, and couldn't help but smile. He has good observation skills, and he discovered this loophole. The three of them also just received the news from Lita. Things have developed to this point, and it is impossible for them to repeat this assessment again. And he is also capable of killing so many Steppenwolves in one go. It wouldn't be possible for someone else. To say he is brave and resourceful is not an exaggeration. With his abilities and powers of observation, he will definitely be able to prosper no matter whether he goes to the abyss or the outer battlefield in the future. He is indeed a rare talent. Wu Zhenyang praised. And as a competitor, he did not lead the wolf pack to attack other candidates, otherwise these candidates would have to be eliminated. This shows that he is not the kind of person who will do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. The future of Dragon Kingdom needs such a leader. The three of them nodded at the same time, looking more and more satisfied with Suren. After Suren ran with the wolves for almost an hour, he finally returned to the valley before the Wolf King refreshed. At this time, Suren was already followed by a dense crowd of Steppenwolves. Suren himself didn't know how many there were, but he could only see a dark group. The Wolf King has been refreshed and all candidates can go and kill it. Hearing this prompt, Suren smiled slightly. An hour's hard work also pays off. Keng. A knife sound sounded. The wolves that were chasing Suren just now suddenly became silent, and then disappeared into a sheet of white light. Candidate Suren has killed the Wolf King. Damn, what a pervert. So many Steppenwolves can still be killed instantly with one knife. What is his killing range? It feels like there is death around him. When the candidates who had been harmed by Suren just heard the news, they shook their heads and continued to look at the monster in front of them. I prayed in my heart that Suren would not do it again. Everyone outside the examination room looked at the ranking list. First place, Suren, 1 turn to level 100, total points 10,500. Second place, Lin 11, level 1 to 10, total points 1,880. Third place, Li Wanqing, 1st to level 15, total points 1,720. Fourth place. Seeing Suren's over 10,000 points, everyone felt numb. Fuck, he racked up 9,000 points in one go, which means he pulled at least 800 Steppenwolves just now. It's awesome. This is a way to earn points that I have never thought of. It's useless to even think about it. Who would dare to do this except Suren? That's not asking for death. You can already open the champagne in advance. No one can surpass this score. Now the top 10 players don't have as many points as him in total, so others have no chance at all. Lin Taizheng looked at his points and congratulated Lu Wenzheng in advance. Lao Lu, congratulations. Now Suren's position as the top pick is secure. Lu Wenwen waved his hand and said, no way, isn't there a challenge after this is over? Not necessarily. Although Lu Wenwen said this on the surface, he was already happy inside. Haha, who dares to challenge Suren? Wu Zhen glanced at the two of them and said nothing. He was no longer sure whether Li Wanqing could defeat Suren in the final challenge. Looking at Li Wanqing's ranking, it is obvious that he is a little impetuous. His points are even behind Lin 11. If Wanqing is too obsessed with the final challenge, he may suffer serious consequences. Wu Zhen sighed, he could only resign himself to his fate. Inside the virtual exam room, Li Wanqing looked at Suren's points and killed Steppenwolf at will. He doesn't care at all how many points he has now, anyway, Suren's will be his by then. The more points Suren has, the better it is for him. This is also the last new link in this major exam. The top 10 candidates can challenge each other. The points of the low-ranked winner and the high-ranked loser are exchanged. This is also the only battle between candidates in this assessment. Suren looked at his own points and then looked at other people's points for an hour. After finding out that he was sure to get the first place, he just chose to lie down and stay still. I was still a little tired after running for an hour just now and pulling monsters non-stop. Wait until the next hour and kill the Wolf King again to end this assessment. The other candidates in the wasteland were focused on killing the monsters in front of them. Without Suren's interruption, everything seemed harmonious. At this time, some viewers finally noticed Gu Changfeng, who had been standing at the edge of the wasteland. What do you think that candidate is doing? I last saw him standing there an hour ago, and he's not gone yet. When others heard his words, they also looked at Gu Changfeng on the many split screens. It's like his hands are stuck to the wall of air, and he doesn't fight monsters. Does anyone know him? I don't know him, I have no impression. What a strange person. Inside the examination room control center, the equipment that was running normally suddenly flashed. Then the entire large screen in the control center went dark. What happened? Quickly check what's wrong. After Lida took a look, he kept tapping on various control devices. No, team leader, we seem to have lost control of the virtual examination room. What? How is this possible? At this time, on the originally dark screen, a monster wrapped in black mist appeared there. In the examination room, all the spectators lost sight of the candidates. Everyone looked at this evil monster and speculated. What is it? A hidden boss appears. No, why does this thing look more and more like a monster in the abyss? The presidents of the three major guilds and the city lords all stood up in shock when they saw this monster. The King of Evil. Why is it in there? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 53. Close the assessment and let everyone come out. Wu Zhenyang took out his fixed-point communicator and ordered Lida below. But all that came back was Lida's anxious voice. No, this thing has already taken control away. We can't get in, and the candidates can't get out. And it can change the rules of the virtual examination room. If a candidate dies in it, he or she really dies. After hearing the news, the presidents of the three major guilds also became nervous. Then can we force our way in? No, if the virtual examination room collapses, the candidates will also die. What should we do? There is no other way but to pray. Snapped. Wu Zhenyang crushed the communicator in his hand. Damn it, are we allowed to watch the candidates die inside? The other two people also felt aggrieved. As the three of them watched, the King of Evil took advantage of this loophole. If a candidate dies, they are all to blame. Ho ho, hello, humans. At this time, the evil king on the screen began to laugh shrilly. It seems to be able to see people outside the examination room through the screen. Wu Zhenyang, you are still so irritable. Unfortunately, you are just incompetent and furious. Evil king, if you have the guts, come out and challenge me. Single fight? Don't be stupid. Will you besiege me when I go out? It's still fun inside, let me see, who should I kill first? Wu Zhenyang roared angrily. You dare. If you dare to touch them, you can't leave. Haha, to tell you the truth, this is just a clone of my king. What will happen if you kill me? Hearing this, everyone's heart skipped a beat. It's over, even the hope of saving the candidates in the end is gone. If the evil king comes in person, they can also use this to threaten him. but a clone that others don't care about at all. Ha ha ha, be afraid. Then you will watch how I hunt down your human geniuses one by one. Don't blink, look clearly. Some viewers who don't understand Abyss asked. What is this? What does it say? Is it going to hunt candidates? This is the evil king in the Abyss, and the candidates are doomed. What? How did you let this thing in? The virtual examination room has strict scanning procedures, and it is impossible for people who are not of my race to enter. Unless someone voluntarily sacrifices their body and soul to bring it in. You mean there is a mole among the candidates? Gu Changfeng looked at the black shadow in the sky and shouted. Lord Evil King, kill Suren first. Gu Changfeng has never been so excited. Today he can finally get what he wants. Suren has become his inner demon. He had been looking forward to this moment all the time. This king needs you to teach me how to do things. Young ones don't dare. Gu Changfeng quickly lowered his head. Humph, it's good to know. The evil king glanced at the entire wasteland, then broke through the space and got in. When it came out, it had already reached the sky where Suren was. At this time, all the candidates in the wasteland noticed this demon. Just now its voice had resounded throughout the wasteland. Are you Suren? The evil king looked at the young man below and asked. Suren shook his head. I'm not Suren. Huh? Do you think I won't recognize you if you don't admit it? I said I'm not Suren, because I am your father. Suren is not deaf. Just now, in order to create panic, this thing deliberately resounded the conversation between it and Wu Zhenyang throughout the wasteland. Naturally, he heard it clearly. This thing has no intention of letting everyone here go. So Suren would not be polite to it. Human, I have to admire your courage. Looking at how brave you are, I will definitely leave you with a complete body. Oh. Suren still didn't show any fear. During this period of time, Suren had clearly seen the information about this thing. Evil King, clone. Level 750. Physical attack, 520,000. Magic attack, 680,000. HP, 100,000,000/100,000,000. Physical defense/magic defense, 680,000/650,000. Skills, Evil Corrosion Control, Netherworld Evil Claw, Evil Light Slash. Explanation, the clone of the Evil King, one of the 7 demon kings in the Abyss, has incomplete skills. When he first looked at it, Suren thought it was an invisible body, but it almost frightened Suren. After knowing that it had an entity, Suren felt relieved. No matter what kind of king you are or what kind of king you are, as long as you have an entity, it won't work for you. If it wasn't for the purpose of concealing the cooldown time of his sword draw, Suren would have killed it with one strike. How dare you show off to him here? Suren's fearless appearance in the face of danger was noticed by everyone. Sushen, Wu Wu, even when facing a strong enemy, his expression remains unchanged. He is a man. Sushen, that's a good scold. The audience cheered for Suren. But they know that by taking advantage of words, the most they can do is die with a little more dignity. Doesn't Suren have the ability to kill instantly? Just kill it instantly. His skill has only been used for half an hour, and it is probably still cooling down. If we can delay it for half an hour, then everything will be easy. At this time someone sighed. It's useless. That's the King of Evil, one of the strongest monsters in the Abyss. Even the clone is not something Suren can deal with. Didn't Suren kill the Cyclops instantly? The man shook his head and said. The Cyclops is just a level 200 regional boss. The Evil King's true form is said to have exceeded level 800. The two are not the same level at all. Everyone was completely in despair now. The level 800 boss clone was something novice awakeners like them could handle. Inside the virtual exam room, all the candidates stopped slaying monsters and stared blankly at the huge black mist in the sky. They haven't realized it yet, aren't they taking a major exam? Why did an evil king suddenly appear? And judging from its tone, it was ready to kill everyone, and now it was targeting Suren. Li Wanqing was still calmly brushing monsters, but the sudden appearance of the evil king threw him into chaos. I can't die here, I still have a bright future. Where are the people outside, are all dead? Come and save me. I am a dual career 5-star potential, you can't let me die here. It's a pity that no one can hear his call, only the sound of the wind responds to him. Lin 11, who was in another part of the wasteland, looked at the evil king in the sky, with a hint of fighting intent in his eyes. His faith has told him since childhood that as long as he has a sword in his hand, he should not be afraid no matter who he faces. Fear is the biggest enemy. Lin 11 picked up the sword and rushed to where Suren was. Even if he dies, he will die standing. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 54. The king of evil kings suddenly became angry when he saw Suren's attitude of contempt for it. Human boy, your ignorance will bring you destruction. I suddenly decided not to kill you directly. I will now reward you with another interesting way to die. Oh? What's an interesting way to die? Tell me about it, I'm quite interested. Since it was going to waste time with him, Suren was eager to chat with it for a while longer. The audience watching the live broadcast were dumbfounded. Why do I feel like Suren is a masochist? Do you think he is brave, or does he know that he will risk his life anyway? They had to admire that Suren was still so calm after all this time. No, why do I feel that this kid is so confident? Wu Zhenyang looked at the scene strangely. Could he have a way to kill the evil king's clone? The other two guild leaders shook their heads. They also don't know what kind of medicine is sold in Suren's gourd. Suren looked a little too calm. Faced with such a presence, Suren could still talk and laugh happily. They can't even imagine this kind of psychological quality. City Lord Lu, come here. Wu Zhenyang shouted to Lu Wenchu. Lu Wenwen was very anxious now. When he heard Wu Zhenjiang's cry, he ran over quickly. President Wu, do you have any way to save Suren? Please, you must save him. After Lu Wenwen finished speaking, he knelt down. Get up, there's nothing we can do. Wu Zhenyang supported him and asked. I called you here to ask if Suren has any special skills or anything like that. Lu Wenwen looked disappointed, shook his head and said. I don't know either. If he can summon a pet beast, he might be able to delay it for a while. Hearing this, Wu Zhenyang felt a little guilty. This was a temporary rule they added, but now it restricted Suren. The pet beast cannot be summoned inside, so Suren has no helpers and can only rely on himself. Inside the virtual exam room, the evil king stared at the human in front of him and said word by word. The fun way to die is that I will cut off your flesh one by one and let you die slowly in pain. What do you think of this way of death? Suren tilted his head and thought for a while, nodded and said. That's quite interesting. When should we start? Wow. The audience outside the stadium didn't know what to say. How long has it been? Suren is still provoking the other party. This is really not afraid of death. Very well, human. Your calmness irritates me. I hope you can be as calm as you are now. The evil king grabbed it with one hand, and the long sword of an unknown candidate was sucked in by it. Then a sword stabbed Suren in the shoulder. It said it would let Suren die slowly, and it would definitely do it. The block is successful, but perfect block is not unlocked and proficiency cannot be obtained. Suren still stood there unscathed. Are you tickling me? Huh? What's going on? The evil king was confused. It has obviously controlled the longsword to attack Suren, why is it ineffective? Not only was it confused, but the entire audience was confused. Isn't this guy just an ordinary guy? It's not harmful at all. Could it be that Sushen's defense is very high? Are you kidding me? This is a level 750 boss. No matter how high the defense is, it can't stop losing blood. And even if you don't break the defense, you still get 1 point of force damage. Wu Zhenyang looked at Lu Wenwen. City Lord Lu, what's going on? Huh? I don't know either. Forget it, how can you be a city lord and principal? You don't even know the skills of your own students. You don't know what to ask. Wu Zhenyang no longer asked him, but turned to look into the virtual examination room. The King of Evil thrust out his sword again in disbelief. This time it changed its position and pierced Suren's thigh. The result is still the same, no harm done. Can you use a little more force? Did you not eat at noon? You don't even have the energy to hit anyone, but you still say you're from the abyss. Listening to Suren's constant taunts, the evil king finally couldn't stand it anymore. Human, you successfully angered me. The evil king no longer thought about slowly torturing Suren to death, but did it himself. A huge black claw condensed in the air, and countless black mist rolled under it. Make it even more terrifying. Even the people outside felt this arrogant pressure through the screen. With this blow, the evil king became truly angry. It's over. Is Sushen really going to die? I didn't expect that his mouth could be so broken before he died. The hope for the future of our dragon country is gone. Some people were in despair, and some people had covered their eyes and did not dare to look. They witnessed with their own eyes the rise of a generation of young prodigy, but they did not expect that his end would come so quickly. Boom! The huge explosion shook the entire examination room. In the northwest of the wasteland, a huge mushroom cloud rose, and all candidates could see this horrifying scene. That genius Suren died, and it was their turn next. Countless candidates cried bitterly. They were still young and no one wanted to die here. But they can't get out and can only passively wait for death. This feeling of powerlessness directly overwhelms most people. Only candidates with stronger will can do it without panic. Suren! Ling Qingxiu cried and fell to the ground. At this moment, she understood what it meant to feel heartache like a knife. After feeling sad, Ling Qingxiu stood up and wiped away her tears, picked up her staff and walked towards the place of explosion. Suren, I will avenge you. Even if it means death, I will bite off a piece of its flesh for you. Ling Qingxiu's eyes were full of hatred. Even though she knew she was defeated, she still walked forward firmly. Looking at the mushroom cloud caused by the explosion, Gu Changfeng smiled happily. He had never been so happy at this moment. Ha ha ha, have a good death. You are finally dead, and I have finally waited for this day. Just as happy as him was Chen Hao. He originally thought that it would be impossible to kill Suren in this life. Unexpectedly, an evil king suddenly appeared and did this for him. But when he thought that he was going to die, a trace of unwillingness appeared in Chen Hao's eyes again. He didn't want to be buried with Suren, he wanted to still be alive. Chen Hao dug a deep hole and hid himself. He hoped to avoid the evil king's reckoning in this way. The evil king looked down and finally smiled with satisfaction. This disgusting human being is finally dead. How can you survive this attack from me? If you dare to laugh at me, it will be easier for you to die like this. The evil king laughed loudly and prepared to find his next target. But then the smoke dispersed, and a handsome young man was seen standing at the center of the explosion holding a knife. Doesn't appear to be hurt in any way. I didn't want to be exposed, but you had to force me. Suren shook his head, and then slashed out with his sword. Why are you pretending to be so cool with me? I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 55. Damn it! Did I read that right? Suren is not dead yet. Not only is he not dead, he doesn't seem to be injured. Did he practice the legendary Vajra indestructible boy skill? Everyone was stunned. This was too outrageous. Is it possible for a newly awakened professional to withstand the full blow of a level 750 boss? Lu Wenwen glanced at Suren, and all kinds of emotions surged into his heart. He didn't even know whether to cry or laugh now. It's a bit scary, this kid. Wu Zhenyang and 3 others thought Suren would die. He never expected Suren to be able to block the evil king's attack. The evil king looked at Suren, who was unharmed, and was briefly confused. How could you? It then discovered that its body was rapidly disintegrating. What am I doing? How? Boom. There was an explosion in the air, and the evil king was torn apart. The body was scattered in the wind before it hit the ground. I don't know who murmured something at this time. The king of evil is dead. Everyone looked at the scene in shock. No one expected that the evil king failed to kill Suren, but Suren killed him. Some people rubbed their eyes, wondering if they had seen it wrong. Others were pinching their thighs hard. Huh? It doesn't hurt. It turned out to be a dream. The person next to him grimaced in pain and looked at him angrily. You're pinching my thigh. Everyone thought it was a lie, but no one dared to believe it was true until Li Da's voice came. 3 presidents, control of the virtual examination room has been restored. Li Da ran to the steps panting. Just now Wu Zhenyang crushed the directional communicator in anger, so he could only run up and deliver the message in person. As soon as Li Da finished speaking, the faces of all the candidates appeared in front of everyone. All the candidates had various expressions, some were crying, some were trembling with fear. Li Wanqing curled up on the ground, his whole body trembling uncontrollably, and he was still mumbling to himself. No. I can't die, I'm a dual-career 5-star genius. How can I die here? I haven't become famous all over the world. The presidents of the 3 major guilds frowned at the same time when they saw this scene. Kong has such talent but such a bad character. If he goes to the battlefield, he will only die. Upon seeing this, the lord of Qiushui city quickly bowed and said, 3 presidents, Wanqing is just a child. It's normal to be scared when encountering this kind of thing. Please forgive me. If the 3 major guilds don't want Li Wanqing because of this, then he is doomed. Wu Zhenyang shook his head and said nothing. He won't recruit Li Wanqing because he doesn't like people with such a character. The other 2 guild presidents hesitated. It would indeed be a pity not to have dual career 5-star potential. They still decided to accept Li Wanqing, but they also planned to focus on cultivating his character. Look at that candidate, he actually dug a hole and hid in it. I know this person. He is a 5-star potential person in Tianshui City. His name seems to be Chen Hao. Everyone was attracted by the conversation between the 2 people and looked over. The lord of Tianshui City now wishes he could find a hole to crawl in. This was too embarrassing. In front of so many people, he didn't dare to look at it anymore. Waste. Wu Zhenyang cursed angrily. The other 2 presidents and admissions staff from other guilds also shook their heads. Even if this candidate has 5-star potential, the 3 major guilds will definitely not want it, and they will not want it either. This kind of person is afraid that he will be the first to surrender to the enemy when he goes to the battlefield. Which city lord is this person from? The lord of Tianshui City raised his hand in embarrassment. Tianshui City still needs to strengthen the psychological development of its students. Otherwise, how can we serve the country? Yes, yes, yes. The lord of Tianshui City nodded quickly. Being stared at by so many people and listening to the whispers around him, his old face turned red. He had never been so embarrassed. At the same time, he was also concerned about Chen Hao. I thought Chen Hao could win glory for him in this big exam, but in the end he made such a big joke in front of everyone. When I get back, I will definitely propose that next year's exam be added to a Xingxing assessment, and all these scared shits will fail. Haha, President Wu can't rush this matter. Besides, not all candidates have bad character. The president of Longteng Guild laughed and said. Look at Lin 11. Not only is he not afraid, but he is full of fighting spirit. He is a talented person. Everyone looked at the young man with a determined face and nodded secretly. This girl is not bad. What's her name? Which city is she from? Wu Zhenyang asked, pointing to the girl holding the staff on the screen. Lu Wenwen turned around and looked happy after seeing the girl's face clearly. President Wu, this is our student from Donghai City. His name is Ling Qingxiu. He is an ice mage with 4-star potential. Oh, by the way, she and Su Ren are friends. Wu Zhenyang nodded. Oh. No wonder, as expected, the one who is close to vermilion is red, and the one who is close to ink is black. Being able to be Su Ren's friend is indeed something special about her. We, the Dragon Martial Arts Guild, want this Ling Qingxiu. Thank you, President Wu. Lu Wenwen was naturally happy. Now Donghai City not only had Su Ren, but also Ling Qingxiu, who was favored by Wu Zhenyang. He naturally became the biggest winner among the city masters in Donghua Prefecture. No need to thank me, I have said before that potential determines the upper limit, but character determines the lower limit. No matter how high the potential is, it will be of no use to a coward. You city lords, remember this. All the city lords nodded to express their acceptance. Lita glanced at the virtual examination room and hesitated. 3 presidents, do you want the assessment to continue? No, let them come out, and they will be ranked according to their current results. Now these candidates are in a state of confusion, and there is no point in taking the exam anymore. This round of assessment has ended. Candidates are asked to exit the examination room. Did we survive? Listening to the system prompts, everyone cried with joy. Those who knew each other hugged each other and cried loudly, celebrating that they were still alive. Haha, I'm not dead. Li Wanqing got up from the ground excitedly. Chen Hao heard the prompt and quickly got out of the cave. Gu Changfeng couldn't believe that the evil king he had worked so hard to summon actually died, or died in Su Ren's hands. I don't believe it. How is this possible? How could Su Ren be so strong? It's all fake, you can't fool me. Gu Changfeng was the first to be forcibly dragged out of the dungeon. After the evil king was killed by Su Ren, Lita and other staff had already targeted him. As soon as Gu Changfeng left the examination room, 4 men in black uniforms appeared next to him and arrested him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 56. Lita bowed and said. 3 adults, after we traced the origin, we have confirmed that the examinee named Gu Changfeng is the mole who brought the evil king into the examination room this time. Well, I'll interrogate him later and finish today's big test first. Gu Changfeng was already a dead man in their eyes, it was just a matter of time. In the virtual examination room, Ling Qingxiu looked at the intact boy in front of her, tears falling from her eyes again. She thought she would never see Su Ren again, so she came with the determination to die. Su Ren couldn't help but feel warm in his heart when he saw how she cared about him. Apart from the orphanage director who picked him up, Ling Qingxiu was the first person in this world who cared about him so much. However, Su Ren did not show his inner feelings, but joked. You are such a big man, why are you still crying? Speaking of which, This is the second time I've seen you cry. The first time was when he rescued Ling Qingxiu from the water. Ling Qingxiu was only 7 or 8 years old at the time, so she was naturally frightened. She sat on the ground and cried loudly. Su Ren comforted her for a long time before stopping. From then on, Ling Qingxiu seemed to have been clinging to him intentionally or unintentionally. Huh, you're still laughing. Ling Qingxiu wiped her tears, turned and walked towards the nearest portal. I'm out and too lazy to pay attention to you. Su Ren smiled and shook his head, then raised his feet and chased after him. When all candidates walk out of the virtual examination room, all assessments for this major exam are officially over. It's finally over. I thought I was going to die inside. Someone slumped on the ground and said fearfully. I even thought about my last words, but I didn't expect that evil king to die suddenly. I don't know who killed him. It's probably these big guys who took action. Hey, as long as you can live, why do you care so much? Looking at this group of exhausted candidates, Wu Zhenyang snorted coldly. A little setback has made you look like this. If you go to the battlefield in the future, wouldn't you all be frightened and run away? At this time someone whispered. But this is different. The evil king is so powerful. How can we defeat him? Wu Zhenyang glanced at the speaker and said loudly again. If the enemy is stronger than you, you will retreat and not dare to step forward. Will you also run away when your family is threatened in the future? If you encounter a strong enemy and the country needs you to protect it, will you shrink back just because the other party is stronger than you? We, the Dragon Kingdom, are a large country and have never been afraid of any foreign enemies. No matter how powerful others are, we will not be afraid to the point of shrinking back. But pick up the weapons in your hands to defend your country and your family. Although I die, I will go on. Wu Zhenjiang's words directly touched the hearts of everyone present. The people of the Dragon Kingdom have never been afraid of anyone since ancient times. The candidates who had been shrinking just now lowered their heads and did not dare to look at Wu Zhenyang. You still have a sense of shame, which means there is still hope for help. Everyone has the fear of death, but if you face such a situation again in the future, I hope you can face it bravely instead of waiting to die where you are. After Wu Zhenyang finished speaking, he looked at Su Ren in the crowd, nodded slightly and said. The person who saved you this time is Su Ren. I hope you can remember his life-saving grace for you today. All the candidates looked at Su Ren in surprise when they heard this. It turns out that Su Ren killed the evil king and saved them. They all thought that Su Ren was the first to die. Lida, raise the ring. Yes. Lida nodded. A square arena 30 meters long and 30 meters wide slowly rose in the center of the examination room. What is this for? Both the candidates and the audience looked at the rising arena curiously. I heard that a new challenge link has been added, but the specific rules are unclear. When the arena was fully raised, Wu Zhenyang stood on the arena and looked at the candidates and said. This is the last link of this exam, and it is also a new link. The top 10 candidates can challenge each other, and the winning party can choose to exchange points with the other party or give up the exchange of points. Each person only has one opportunity to actively challenge and one opportunity to passively challenge. If someone picks one person at the same time, lots will be drawn to determine who will challenge. There are no restrictions on any means in the arena. You can also compete boldly with confidence. You will not really die in the arena. After Wu Zhenyang explained the rules, he looked at the candidates and said. The top 10 candidates with combat career points come to the ring to start picking their opponents. I choose her. I choose her too. At the same time, 2 people were eyeing Ling Qingxiu. Among the top 10 candidates, only Ling Qingxiu has 4-star potential. And she ranked as high as 6th. One of the 2 people who picked her was 9th and the other 10th. Now they both pick her at the same time, and according to the rules, they need to draw lots. After the 2 went to draw lots, Wu Zhenyang continued to ask. Where are the others? Do you have anyone to challenge? Lin 11 took a step forward, pointed at Li Wangqing and said. I choose to challenge him. Seeing Lin 11's choice, everyone couldn't help but frown and said in confusion. Isn't Lin 11 second? How could he pick Li Wangqing, who is third? Who knows? Maybe I just want to compare notes. It's impossible to challenge Suran, right? That's right. Who dares to challenge Suran? He can kill them if he releases his pet beast. Wu Zhenyang glanced at it and asked again. Is there anyone else who wants to challenge? I. Li Wangqing took a step forward, pointed at Suran and said. I want to challenge Suran. As soon as these words came out, it was like a stone stirring up 1,000 waves. Everyone looked at Li Wangqing in surprise. Wow! How dare he? I think he is crazy because he wants to be famous, right? Why should he challenge Suran? Oh, you're just humiliating yourself. Sushen can kill him with one move. Wu Zhenyang was also a little surprised, but he didn't say anything. It's a fair challenge and anyone can pick their opponent, that's the rule. Who else wants to challenge? When no one spoke, Wu Zhenyang announced. The challenge starts with a low ranking. The result of the draw between the 9th and 10th people was the archer professional candidate who was ranked 9th. Now, Han Dongjun will fight against Ling Qingxiu, and the other candidates will withdraw from the ring. Han Dongjun took out his bow and arrow, looked at the girl in front of him and chuckled. Hee, I thought I would only be in 9th place at most, but I didn't expect that I would still have a chance to reach 6th place. In fact, you can already choose any guild in the top 10, but points are the key point. Otherwise, the rules would not provide the opportunity to exchange points with the opponent. The points earned now can be exchanged for an equal amount of contribution in the guild later. It's not that difficult to get contribution points in a guild. Seeing that both sides were ready, Wu Zhenyang exited the ring and said. Now the game begins. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 57. As Wu Zhenyang finished speaking, a semicircular light curtain fell upside down on the ring. Looking at the two people on the stage, many candidates started talking. Which one of them do you think has a better chance of winning? Of course it's Han Dongjun from our city. He's also just turned 1 and has 5-star potential. I'm afraid you don't know who Ling Qingxiu's friend is, right? Let me tell you, Ling Qingxiu and Suren are friends. Do you think an ordinary 4-star professional can become Suren's friend? You're a bit far-fetched, isn't it? What does Suren's greatness have to do with her? Just wait and see. The two people on the stage exchanged greetings, each took out their weapons and said please. Ling Qingxiu glanced at the person opposite and took out 2 rune scrolls and placed them behind her. I want you to look down on me and treat me like a weakling, right? Anyway, there are no restrictions on using props, so I can just use a little money. As an archer, Han Dongjun's agility is his greatest advantage. He was confident that he could kill the ice mage in front of him. The advantage of Ice Mage is that it has strong control ability and good defense ability. However, it is very easy to lose skills when encountering fast professions and monsters. So as soon as the game started, Han Dongjun started running around the ring. I'm already fast, but now that I activate the wind step, I'm even faster. I still don't believe she can control me like this. As long as she can't control me, I can easily defeat her. So the advantage is mine. Fuck. Before Han Dongjun could finish his thoughts, 2 scrolls flew over, one on the left and one on the right. In the center are Ling Qingxiu's blizzard skills and ice arrows. All the roads in front, back, left and right were blocked instantly. Unless he could fly, there would be nowhere to escape. You are cheating. Han Dongjun wailed, and the arena instantly exploded with flowers. Boom! Boom! After the two explosions, Han Dong-jun appeared under the ring with a look of reluctance on his face. The battle ended so quickly, both the audience and the candidates were stunned. What's going on? Why was Han Dong-jun killed? Anyone who saw what those two rune scrolls were said with a twitching mouth. I suggest you look up what a detonating scroll is and you'll know why. After everyone heard this and checked it, they immediately exclaimed. Let me tell you, one picture will cost 3 million. Everyone finally knew what happened, and it was no wonder that Han Dong-jun felt so aggrieved at the loss. This is completely lost to money ability. Is this fair? President Wu has said that there are no restrictions on any means. You can use it if you have it. But only if you can afford it. If you blow it up twice, the 6 million will be gone. Everyone was helpless, they really couldn't afford it. This is completely a money-burning style of play. I don't know what kind of wealthy aristocrat this girl's family is that can afford such expensive disposable consumables. In the first game, Ling Qingxiu wins. After the referee made the announcement, Ling Qingxiu put away the two detonating scrolls he took out again and jumped down from the ring. Seeing the scroll put away in her hand, everyone was stunned again. This is the rhythm of throwing two more if you haven't killed two. Ling Qingxiu walked to Suren and asked for praise. How's it going? I'm awesome, right? Suren nodded. Sharp. If this were on Earth, he would be a rich man among Krypton gold players. Ling Qingxiu's father sat in the stands and nodded with satisfaction. This is my Ling Xiao's daughter, so I should throw money at them. This detonating scroll looks pretty good. Ling Xiao thought for a while and ordered the housekeeper beside him. Buy another 30 of these scrolls for my daughter's defense, and some other types as well. Buy less of the others, just buy 30 of each type. The first game ended quickly. Lin 11 and Li Wanqing walked up. One is second and the other is third, both of them use swords. Everyone is looking forward to what kind of sparks these two people can create. Old Lin, can your nephew be okay? Lu Wenwen looked at Lin Taizhong. Li Wanqing is from Qiushui City, and he has offended Daeun Trading Company. Lu Wenwen naturally didn't want to see Li Wanqing win. Lin Taizhong shook his head. I don't know either. My nephew's personality is just like that of my elder brother. He is very stubborn. His profession is obviously so powerful, but he just doesn't use it. Why? There must be a reason why he doesn't want to drink, right? Lu Wenwen also knew about Lin 11's occupation. A drunken swordsman who doesn't drink is a waste of professional talent. Hey, do you know how my eldest brother and sister-in-law died? Didn't you die at the hands of a monster in the wild? They died at the hands of monsters, but with their strength they would have been fine. But my eldest brother drank a lot before going out, do you understand? Lu Wenwen nodded. I see. No wonder this kid Lin 11 refuses to drink alcohol. Lin Taizhong sighed. Hey, we can only wait and see when he can figure it out. At this time, the mask on the ring fell, and the competition between the two officially began. This time the dramatic scene never happened again. Both of them stabbed each other with swords. Under the flying sword light, the sound of sword clanging came from the ring. At first, the two were evenly matched, but as the number of encounters increased, Lin 11 gradually took the initiative. Your heart is not at peace. Lin 11 noticed at a glance that Li Wanqing was a little absent-minded. Oh, you must beat me first. Li Wanqing slashed out with his sword, and while the two exchanged a wave of skills, their bloodlines dropped to about 1/3. If you don't use your second career anymore, you will lose. Lin 11 sheathed her sword and stood with her hands behind her back. Do not talk nonsense. Li Wanqing did not use the idea of a second career because this was his trump card. He didn't like Lin 11's points at all. When Lin 11 saw this, the sword in her hand no longer stopped and went straight into Li Wanking's heart. Li Wanking's figure appeared under the ring. Lin 11 put away her sword, shook her head, and then jumped off the ring. It was boring for him to win this battle, as the opponent didn't seriously compete with him at all. I thought both sides were swordsmen and could fight to their heart's content, but I didn't expect this result. In the second competition, Lin 11 wins. Looking at this result, everyone was puzzled. What is this Li Wanking doing? Where is his other profession? He had no desire to fight the whole time. Could it be that he was preparing to defeat Su Ren and take first place with his ultimate move? After he said this, everyone seemed to understand, but they didn't understand. Su Ren's attack was an instant kill. Why could he guarantee that he would definitely defeat Su Ren? Li Wanking, do you need to wait for the skill to cool down? The referee looked at Li Wanking. No need, just start. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 58. Li Wanking and Su Ren took out their weapons and stood on the ring. Su Ren, I have been waiting for this moment for a long time. I am looking forward to the feeling of defeating you. Oh. Su Ren didn't even bother to say another word. As arrogant as you are, you will know later that your arrogance is worthless in front of me. Listening to Li Wanking's confident words, the audience was already excited. Li Wanking is very confident. He dares to say such things even though he knows that Su Ren is invincible. It seems that his second career will be revealed soon. This should be the source of his confidence. If Li Wanking really defeats Su Ren, it will be unimaginable for us, the younger generation in Donghua Prefecture. He can't beat Lin 11. Do you really believe that he can beat Su Ren? I think he just came up to show off. In the stands, the Lord of Qiushui City glanced at Lu Wenwen and hummed. Lu Wenwen, please keep your eyes open, let me see how Wan Qing defeated Su Ren. Tch, Wu Zhen, why are you pretending to me? How can your Li Wanking be so powerful and be scared into that by the king of evil? Su Ren was ungrateful for saving his life. He wanted to backstab his savior when he came out alive. Is this your education method in Qiushui City? It's really disgusting. After Lu Wenwen's ridicule, Wu Zhen couldn't talk back. This matter was indeed their fault, and Wu Zhen had to turn around and not look at Lu Wenwen. Just growled softly. One code is the same, now is not the time to talk about that. Wu Zhenyang looked at the two people beside him and asked. Do you think Li Wanking can defeat Su Ren? He seems very confident. Perhaps he is afraid of the evil king because his attack power is not strong enough to kill him. Perhaps his second profession can restrain Su Ren's instant kill skills. Wu Zhenyang squinted his eyes and thought for a while. The only thing that can deal with Su Ren's instant kill skill is force control. If you don't let him use his sword or chant magic, then Su Ren won't be able to fight back. I just don't know what his second career is. Everyone looked at the ring expectantly. As the mask falls, the game officially begins. Both parties still bowed their hands and said please normally. But Su Ren just wanted to take his hand back, but found that he couldn't move. Not only could he not move his hands, but he could not move his body either. It was as if he and the space around him were frozen. The shadow of a clock appeared behind Li Wanking. Is this the power of time? Wu Zhenyang looked at the ring in shock. Time and space are the two most difficult hidden professions. Li Wanking not only awakened a combat profession, but also awakened a time-related profession. No wonder he is so confident and no wonder he has been hiding this profession. Both professions, time and space, require a long period of charging before they can be released. He left this to Su Ren from the beginning. Seeing this scene, Lu Wenwen lost his composure and stood up from his seat. Combined with the power of time and a combat profession, he is absolutely undefeated in a duel at the same level. Everyone is just a living target under the power of time. The proud voice of the Lord of Qiushui City sounded beside Lu Wenwen. Haha, Lu Wenwen, do you still think Suren can win? How many seconds do you think Suren's blood can last? Lu Wenwen was silent. He did not expect such a result. All the original efforts were in vain. This villain, the two parties started taking action before the courtesy was over. It's over, Sushen can't move anymore. I didn't expect that this kid was playing dirty tricks. He deliberately held back just to steal Suren's points. How shameless if I didn't take action against the evil king when he came out. But, even if he wins, he still won't get the approval of me, Wang Long. Some in the audience were abusive, while others praised Li Wanqing for being good at hiding. And I feel sorry for Suren. Suren, who had been making great progress all the way, seemed to be really going to stumble at the last step. You really can't underestimate the world's heroes. Maybe someone will come up with a special skill and catch you off guard. On the ring, Li Wanqing strolled up to Suren and said calmly. Although my skill can only immobilize one person, it only lasts for a full minute. So don't try to get rid of control and kill me. Of course, the time around you is frozen, and you can't expect to summon your pet beast to help. 1 minute is enough for me to kill you dozens of times. Li Wanqing grinned and stabbed Suren's heart with the long sword in his hand. The block is successful, but perfect block has not been unlocked and proficiency cannot be gained. Huh? What's going on? Li Wanqing frowned and looked at his sword. How come there's no harm? Although Suren's body was frozen by the power of time, his consciousness was still there. Blocking skills can still be used. Li Wanqing thrust out his sword again without believing in evil. Still no harm done. Li Wanqing was a little panicked. He didn't know what was going on, and time was slowly passing. Wan Qing, attack continuously, don't stop. Wu Zhen reminded loudly. He had watched the entire battle between Suren and the King of Evil, and he guessed that Suren must have the ability to block damage. And this skill definitely has a cooldown. If there is no cooldown, Suren can directly declare himself invincible in the world. City Lord Wu, you have crossed the line. Can you intervene in the junior competition? Wu Zhenyang glanced at Wu Zhen coldly. The villain knows his mistake. Wu Zhen quickly lowered his head and admitted his mistake. Wu Zhenyang no longer looked at him, but stared at Suren. He wanted to see if Suren still had a trump card in such a desperate situation. -0. -3500. -0. Li Wanqing was ecstatic to see that the damage was finally done. Although he didn't understand why his damage was so low. But more than 3000 is enough. Just when Li Wanqing took action again, the magic sword Thousand Blades unsheathed itself. Although it cannot use the draw sword, the demonic Thousand Blades can break through Li Wanqing's time power. It wasn't until the moment when the Thousand Blades of the magic knife moved that Suren understood that the power of time could be regarded as a conceptual means of defense. As the weapon rewarded to Suren by the system, the demon sword Thousand Blades is also a conceptual weapon. It can ignore defense and the power of time. At this time, the blade of the demonic Thousand Blades turned into thousands of fragments to protect Suren. The sword that Li Wanqing stabbed was blown away. Then hundreds of fragments attacked Li Wanqing at the same time. Oh my god, what the hell, Suren's knife moved by itself. This is the first time I've seen a weapon that can move on its own, and it can also dismantle itself for defense and offense. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 59. What kind of weapon is this? It can protect its master on its own. Everyone stared curiously at the weapon that turned into thousands of fragments. An old man in the stands looked at the weapon and smiled. I'm afraid he is the only one besides Suren who knows the details of this weapon. Because it was he who helped Suren inlay the eye of the giant last time. It's indeed a divine weapon. It looks like it's almost ready for use. The old man admired in his heart. If the weapon spirit is successfully generated, the power of this weapon will probably be even more powerful. When he saw the properties of this weapon for the first time, he knew that this was no ordinary artifact. I didn't expect to see the power of this weapon today. At this time, Li Wangqing on the stage was already a little overwhelmed by the hundreds of fragments. He didn't understand why time could be frozen but this weapon was not affected. But he didn't have time to think so much because he couldn't stop it. Puff. A blade sliced through his skin. -22758. Seeing this damage figure, Li Wangqing was so frightened that he quickly took a few steps back. He only had more than 50,000 HP, and this blade fragment cost him half of his life. And there were thousands of fragments in front of him. Li Wangqing will be killed with a single knife. Who would believe this if told? The top 3 geniuses in Donghua Prefecture's college entrance examination were actually cornered by a knife. Even in front of this knife, it was difficult for Li Wangqing to parry. This kid Suren has hidden himself deep enough, and he actually has such a powerful trump card. Wu Zhenyang had to think more highly of Suren. Yes, he can always bring hope to everyone when they are most desperate. We see that now we don't even know his skills and specific occupation. How can you say that at 17 or 18 years old, he has such a deep city? The presidents of the 3 major guilds smiled bitterly and shook their heads. This is the first time in their long lives that they have met a young man who can't see through anything. Puff. There was another sound of scratching the skin. Li Wangqing has retreated to the edge of the ring. Suddenly all the blade fragments hovered in front of Li Wangqing and could no longer move. It seems that the distance between these fragments and the handle of the knife has reached its limit. Li Wangqing finally took a breath at this time. He almost died. Although it is not real death, the fear of impending death is still frightening. Keng. The ring of swords sounded in the ring, and all the blade fragments flew back to form a complete blade again. The eyes on the handle of the knife opened and turned left and right, then slowly closed. Suren also moved at this time. Li Wangqing's power of time disappeared and Suren regained his freedom. Li Wangqing was disheartened when he saw this. He knew that he had no chance of winning. I surrender, don't kill me in the ring. Li Wangqing didn't want to feel the feeling of death, so he left the ring after saying this. But Suren finally got out of trouble. How could it be possible for him to feel better? He just drew his sword and sent him away with one blow. At this point, the Donghua Prefecture examination is over. In the stands, some were happy and some were sad, and the face of the Lord of Qiushui City was ashen. In this battle, not only Li Wangqing lost, but Wu Zhen also lost. From then on, he no longer had a foothold in Donghua Prefecture. Ha ha ha. So cool. Lu Wenwen shouted happily, feeling relieved from the depression in his heart just now. Suren won. Suren is our top pick in Donghua State. Suren. Suren. Sushen, you are my god. Everyone in the stands stood up, applauded and shouted Suren's name. At this moment, Suren represented not only Donghai City, but the entire Donghua Prefecture. The name Suren will also spread throughout the Dragon Kingdom after today. This is the pride of their Donghua Prefecture. Congratulations to Brother Su. The 3 kings of Changming City came over and clasped their fists in congratulations. Congratulations. Lin 11's face was expressionless. Sudedu. Congratulations, you are so awesome. Mu Ziowen's eyes were filled with little stars, and she looked at Suren with admiration. Ling Qingxiu looked at Suren and smiled slightly. Congratulations. I knew you could do it. People who knew Suren or didn't know him all came over to congratulate Suren for winning the first prize in this exam. Some people also came here to thank Suren for saving his life. If Suren hadn't killed the evil king, there would be no chance for them to stand here and talk now. Seeing this scene, Lu Wenwen cried with joy. All his efforts successfully realized his value at this moment. From today on, the world will always remember the city of Donghai City. Because there was a man named Suren in the city. In the tomato orphanage of Donghai City. An old man and 6 or 7 children were watching the live broadcast on TV. Congratulations to Suren, a young man from the city, for winning the first prize in the Donghua Prefecture examination. At the same time, he also broke the record of the Sword God Senior in this exam. Our reporter Yu Wenbo reports for you. Looking at the high-spirited young man on TV, 2 tears fell from the corners of the old man's eyes. His face was full of relief. The little girl in the old man's arms pointed at Suren on the TV and asked crisply. Grandpa Dean, why do you keep looking at this big brother? Do you know him? The old man smiled and touched the little girl's head and said. He is also a member of our family, he is your brother. When Suren left the orphanage, these children were only 2 or 3 years old, so how could they still remember Suren? Oh, Grandpa, why are you crying? Did your elder brother make you angry because he disobeyed me? The old man shook his head and smiled. He didn't make Grandpa angry. Grandpa is happy. He is Grandpa's pride and the pride of our Donghai City. Grandpa is proud of him. Thinking of the baby abandoned at the door of the orphanage 18 years ago, the old man's eyes flashed with memories. The child neither cried nor fussed, and could walk and talk within a few months. He has never been in trouble since he was a child, and he is so sensible that it makes him feel bad. Now he has finally made his mark, becoming the top pick in the state and truly becoming famous all over the world. The old man was happy for him from the bottom of his heart. Grandpa, from now on I will be like a big brother and make you happy. Haha, okay, Grandpa is waiting for you to be like him. The exam site. Wu Zhenyang and the other 3 led many guild recruiters and the city lords of 30 cities in Donghua Prefecture to the podium. Although there were twists and turns in this exam, it was overall smooth. I also hope that all the candidates will practice diligently in the days to come and never forget their original aspirations. Wu Zhenyang looked at everyone and said with a smile. I declare that this Donghua Prefecture examination has ended perfectly. Now, let's start awarding awards to the top 10 candidates. Applause rang out, and everyone's eyes were focused on the 10 people who slowly walked onto the stage. At this moment, the glory belongs to them. They also represent the results of the efforts of various cities throughout Donghua Prefecture this year. I changed my profession and became a concept god, shocking the world with one knife. Author, How Like the Human World. Chapter 60. City Lord Lu. Wu Zhenyang looked at Lu Wenwen. Now, come and give awards to the candidates from Donghua Prefecture. Yes. Hearing this, Lu Wenwen was ecstatic. What does it mean to ask him, the Lord of Donghai City, to award awards to Donghua Prefecture candidates? This means that his appointment as governor is certain and secure. The city lords of other cities all looked at Lu Wenwen, with endless envy in their eyes. Unexpectedly, this position was snatched away by Lu Wenwen, who had been at the bottom of Donghua State. It would be a lie to say that there is no unwillingness in everyone's hearts. But who told Donghai City to have Suren? One person attained enlightenment, and chickens and dogs ascended to heaven. Wu Zhen was the only one who lowered his head and did not look at Lu Wenwen. The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. This has been the case since ancient times. He will not say anything more. Lu Wenwen took the medals and certificates and handed them out one by one starting from the 10th place. When he finally walked in front of Suren, Lu Wenwen smiled and said, "Congratulations, Suren." Suren nodded. Congratulations in advance, City Lord Lu. They both laughed at the same time. After the award ceremony, the most critical part of recruiting members from each guild came. In fact, strictly speaking, it is the Candidate Selection Association. Only the top-ranked candidates can compete among the major guilds. Each guild has already revealed its minimum points requirements for admissions. Of course, this year due to the impact of the final stage, the points requirements for each guild have been reduced by half. The presidents of the three major guilds appeared next to Suren at the same time, staring at Suren as if they were looking at a peerless beauty. Suren, our Longfi guild can provide you with 10,000 guild contributions and 500 million in cash a year. Come to our Longfi guild. Hey, Lao Zhang, you've spent a lot of money. The president of Longteng guild looked at Suren and said. Our Dragon guild is willing to pay twice as much as he does. Plus there are all kinds of equipment suitable for you to choose from. Suren, this condition is already the best treatment among all the guilds in the entire Dragon Kingdom. Do you think about it? Wu Zhenyang squeezed the two of them away. Lao Zhang, Lao Qi, you all get out of the way. Look at your stingy ways. The situation is getting smaller. Oh, Wu Zhenyang, how much more can your Dragon Martial Arts Guild achieve this year's target? Wu Zhenyang smiled and said. There are indeed not many indicators, but I can personally provide rewards. Suren, our Longwu Guild is willing to meet the same conditions you have as the Longteng Guild, plus this thing. Wu Zhenyang took out a mask and said with some reluctance. This baby is a good thing that I used to steal from the rich and give to the poor when I was in the world. It has been with me for decades. As long as you agree to come to our Dragon Martial Arts Guild, it will be yours. What is this? Suren asked doubtfully. Seeing Wu Zhenjiang's distressed look, Suren could tell that this was definitely a treasure. Tisk, tisk, Wu Zhenyang, you even took out the 1,000 transformations mask, you really spent a lot of money. The two guild presidents nearby stared at the mask in Wu Zhenjiang's hand with some envy. Wu Zhenyang explained to Suren. This mask is called the 1,000 Change Mask. Wearing it, you can choose any face you have seen and perfectly become that person. You have been targeted by international assassins recently. Having this tool will save you a lot of trouble. Now do you know the value of this thing? After hearing Wu Zhenjiang's explanation, Suren understood. The value of this thing can be said to be immeasurable. No wonder even Wu Zhenyang showed such pain. Okay, I choose to join the Dragon Martial Arts Guild. Seeing that Suren had made his decision, the other two guild presidents said nothing more. With this condition, they couldn't come up with anything better. Okay. Wu Zhenyang handed the mask to Suren, smiled and patted his shoulder. Our guild will report in 1 month, and then the guild contribution and cash will be given to you. One more thing. I hope you can participate in the collective trials of the major guilds in 3 months. This is related to the international conference at the end of the year. When the time comes, I hope you can represent the country against geniuses from other countries. The president of Longteng Guild frowned and said. Wu Zhenyang, that trial was attended by some old members. Do you want Suren to go with them? Yeah, are you a little too anxious? Those are at least level 4 and above geniuses. Suren's current level is obviously not high enough. Wu Zhenyang shook his head. I believe Suren, with his strength, there will be no problem in participating in that trial. Our Dragon Kingdom has missed the championship for 3 consecutive years. We cannot lose again this year no matter what. If we lose again this year, everyone's confidence will be severely damaged, which will be detrimental to our Dragon Kingdom. Suren, can you understand what I'm saying? Wu Zhenyang looked at Suren hopefully. Suren nodded. Don't worry, President Wu, I will prove to the world that our Dragon Kingdom is the most powerful country in the world. Good. Wu Zhenyang was overjoyed. I like your courage and confidence. See you in Kyoto in 1 month. You must be extremely careful these days. Someone is offering a reward of 5 billion knives for your life. Remember to use this 1000-changing mask flexibly. I believe that with your intelligence, those assassins will only become your whetstone. How much more? 5 billion knives. When Suren heard the reward amount, he even had the idea of handing himself over to the other party at a certain moment. 5 billion knives and nearly 40 billion dragon coins. Who thinks so highly of him that he issued such a high reward? Suren doubted whether he accidentally killed the child of the world's richest man. Ahem, are you obsessed with money? The point is not the money, but the many assassins who want to kill you. I know, I just sigh that I am quite valuable. It's good that you know. Okay, you can go. After Suren left, the three got together again. Wu Zhenyang, you are really willing to give it up. That is a legendary decoration. You can't find another one in the world, right? Wu Zhenyang shook his head and said. Even if Suren didn't choose our Longwu guild, I would still give him this mask. He is the hope of our dragon kingdom. How could I let him die in the hands of those little men? Then don't you send someone to protect him? Isn't this a better way? The flowers growing in the greenhouse are too fragile, how can they take on such a big responsibility? Why did the sword god ever need protection back then? Assassins. Kill as many as you come. Wu Zhenyang said calmly, I hope they will come more to practice swordsmanship for Suren. I admire you. In terms of structure, we are not as good as you. Nonsense, otherwise why would our Longwu guild always rank first among many guilds? Hey, give me some sunshine and you'll shine brighter. The presidents of the three major guilds looked at each other, and rarely laughed at the same time.